Here's what nobody tells you about being the unfavorable child: you don't realize you're being sacrificed until you're already on the altar. 2 weeks ago, I stood on a stage in front of 3,000 people and watched my parents' faces drain of color when the dean called my name as valedictorian at the same university they refused to pay a single dollar for. They came to watch my twin sister graduate. They had no idea I was even enrolled there. They certainly didn't know I'd be the one wearing the gold sash, holding the microphone, and telling my story of survival to every person in that stadium, including them. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. Before I tell you how I ended up on that stage, you need to understand where this story actually begins. Because betrayal doesn't announce itself with trumpets and warning signs. It creeps in quietly, disguised as practicality, dressed up as tough love, wrapped in the language of family decisions. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're already bleeding. This story begins 4 years before graduation, in my parents' living room, on an ordinary Tuesday evening that would fracture my entire world. The acceptance letters had arrived that afternoon. Both of them. Same day, same mailbox, 2 completely different futures. My twin sister Victoria got into Whitmore University, a prestigious private institution with marble columns, legacy admissions, and a price tag of $65,000 per year. I got into Eastbrook State, a solid public university with good programs, decent reputation, and a much more reasonable $25,000 annually. Still expensive, but manageable. That evening, my father called a family meeting. And let me tell you something about family meetings: they're never actually about the family. They're about control. They're about decisions that have already been made behind closed doors, and you're just being brought in to hear the verdict. My father settled into his leather armchair like a CEO about to address shareholders. My mother sat on the couch, hands folded in her lap, face already composed into that expression I'd come to recognize over the years, the look that said, whatever's about to happen, I've already accepted it. Victoria stood by the window, practically glowing with anticipation. She knew. Somehow, she already knew this meeting was going to go her way. And I sat across from my father, clutching my acceptance letter like it was a life raft, completely unaware that I was about to drown. My father started with Victoria. His voice was warm, proud, certain. "Victoria, we'll cover your full tuition at Whitmore. Room, board, everything. This is a tremendous opportunity, and we're so proud of you." Victoria squealed. Actually squealed. Like she'd won the lottery. My mother smiled, that soft, indulgent smile reserved exclusively for her favorite child. And then my father turned to me. And the temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. "Francis, we've decided not to fund your education." The words didn't register at first. They hovered in the air like a language I didn't speak, symbols I couldn't decode. I remember blinking, trying to process what I'd just heard, waiting for the punchline that never came. "I'm sorry, what?" My father leaned back in his chair, completely calm, like he was explaining a basic financial principle to a slow student. "Victoria has leadership potential. She networks well. She'll marry well, build connections. It's an investment that makes sense." He paused. And what came next felt like a knife sliding between my ribs, slow and deliberate. "You're smart, Francis, but you're not special. There's no return on investment with you." Let me stop here for a second because I need you to understand what just happened. This wasn't a parent having a difficult conversation about finances. This wasn't a family struggling to make ends meet, forced to make impossible choices. This was a father looking his daughter in the eyes and assigning her a value. A monetary value. A return on investment calculation. Like I was a stock portfolio. Like I was a business venture that didn't project enough growth. Like I was something you could measure in dollars and decide wasn't worth the cost. I looked at my mother, desperate for her to intervene, to say something, anything. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Victoria. She was already texting someone, probably sharing the good news about Whitmore, completely unbothered by the fact that her twin sister was being gutted alive 3 feet away. So I just figure it out myself? My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. My father shrugged. Actually shrugged. You're resourceful. You'll manage. That night, I didn't cry. I'd cried enough over the years, over missed birthdays, over hand-me-down gifts that Victoria had already used and discarded, over being cropped out of family photos because I ruined the composition. Instead, I sat in my room and had a realization that would change everything. To my parents, I wasn't their daughter. I was a bad investment. But here's what my father didn't know, what nobody in that house knew: his decision didn't break me. It clarified me. For the first time in my 18 years, I saw my family for exactly what it was. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Now, some of you watching this are probably thinking this was a one-time thing, a terrible moment but an isolated incident. Let me disabuse you of that notion right now. This wasn't new. The favoritism had always been there, woven into the fabric of our family like an ugly pattern everyone pretended not to see. When we turned 16, Victoria got a brand new Honda Civic with a red bow on top. Literally a red bow, like in a commercial, like she was the star of her own movie. I got her old laptop, the one with a cracked screen and a battery that lasted 40 minutes on a good day. My mother's excuse? We can't afford 2 cars, sweetheart. But somehow they could afford Victoria's ski trips to Aspen. Her designer prom dress that cost more than my entire wardrobe. Her summer abroad in Spain, where she posted daily Instagram updates of sangria and architecture while I worked double shifts at a local diner. Family vacations were psychological torture disguised as bonding time. Victoria always got her own hotel room, privacy, space, independence. I slept on pull-out couches in hallways, on cots in corners, once even in what the resort generously called a cozy nook but was actually a closet with a window. And the family photos. God, the family photos. In every single one, Victoria stood center frame, perfectly lit, perfectly positioned. I was always at the edge, sometimes partially cut off, sometimes so far to the side you'd think I was a random stranger who wandered into the shot. When I finally worked up the courage to ask my mother about it, I was 17, desperate for answers, desperate for her to acknowledge what was happening. She sighed. That particular sigh that parents use when they think you're being dramatic, when they're dismissing your reality before you've even finished speaking. Sweetheart, you're imagining things. We love you both the same. But here's the thing about gaslighting: it requires the victim to doubt their own perception of reality. And I'd stopped doubting. A few months before the college decision, I found my mother's phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. A text thread with my Aunt Linda was open. I shouldn't have read it. I know that. But I did. And what I saw confirmed every suspicion I'd been told to ignore, every hurt I'd been told was in my head. My mother had written, "Poor Frances." But Harold's right. She doesn't stand out. We have to be practical. I put the phone down carefully, like it might explode. Then I walked to my room, closed the door, and made a decision I told no one about. Not because I wanted revenge. Revenge requires caring about someone's opinion. I wanted something much more powerful than revenge. I wanted proof. Proof that my father was wrong. Proof that I wasn't a bad investment. Proof that value isn't assigned by other people, it's created by yourself. That night, I opened my laptop, the cracked one with the dying battery, and typed into the search bar, "full scholarships for independent students." The results loaded slowly, but what I found would become my blueprint for the next 4 years. I did the math at 2 in the morning, sitting on my bedroom floor with a notebook and a calculator, mapping out an impossible future. Eastbrook State, $25,000 per year. For years, $100,000 total. My parents' contribution, $0. My savings from summer jobs, $2,300. The gap was staggering. If I couldn't close it, I had 3 options, and all of them led to the same place, becoming exactly what my father said I was. Option 1, don't go to college at all. Drop out before I even started, prove him right immediately, spend the rest of my life wondering what I could have been. Option 2, take on 6 figures of student debt that would follow me for decades, crushing every dream under the weight of monthly payments, turning my diploma into an anchor instead of a ladder. Option 3, go part-time, stretch a 4-year degree into 7 or 8 years while working full-time, watching my peers graduate and move forward while I stayed stuck, always behind, always catching up. Every path led to failure. Every calculation confirmed what my father believed, that I wasn't worth the investment, that I didn't have what it took, that I was destined to be the twin who didn't make it. I could already hear the conversations at future Thanksgivings, the pitying tones, the careful avoidance of my name. Victoria's doing so well at Whitmore. She's dating a lawyer, thinking about graduate school. Frances? Oh, she's still figuring things out. She's been taking some classes. You know how it is. But here's where the story turns. Because sitting on that floor at 2 in the morning, staring at impossible numbers, I had a choice. I could accept the life my parents had designed for me, the smaller life, the lesser life, the life of someone not worth investing in. Or I could design my own. I chose the second option. But to do that, I needed a plan. And I needed it immediately. I filled an entire notebook that summer. Every page was covered in calculations, possibilities, timelines. I mapped out my entire future like a general planning a campaign, because that's what it was, a war against low expectations and predetermined outcomes. Job number 1, barista at the Morning Grind, a campus cafe. Shift, 5 to 8 a.m., before my earliest class. Estimated monthly income, $800. Job number 2, cleaning crew for the residence halls, weekends only. $400 a month. Job number 3, teaching assistant position for the economics department, if I could land it. Another $300. Total, $1,500 per month. Roughly $18,000 a year. Still $7,000 short of tuition. That gap would have to come from scholarships. Merit-based ones. The kind you earn, not the kind you're handed. The kind that prove your father was wrong about you. I found the cheapest housing option within walking distance of campus, a tiny room in a house shared with 4 other students. $300 a month, utilities included. No parking, no air conditioning, no privacy. The room was barely bigger than a closet. I didn't care. It would have to do. My schedule crystallized into something brutal but precise, a tightrope I'd have to walk for 4 straight years without falling. 5 a.m., work at the cafe. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., classes. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., study, work, or teaching assistant duties. 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., sleep. 4 to 5 hours a night. For 4 years. The week before I left for college, Victoria posted photos from her pre-graduation trip to Cancun with friends. Sunset beaches. Margaritas. Laughter. Carefree joy. I was in my room packing a thrift store comforter into a second-hand suitcase, organizing my life into cardboard boxes. Our lives were already diverging, splitting into parallel universes. And we hadn't even started yet. But here's what kept me going. Every night before sleep, during those precious 4 hours I allowed myself, I'd whisper the same thing, a mantra, a promise, a declaration of independence. This is the price of freedom. Freedom from their expectations. Freedom from their judgment. Freedom from needing their approval. I didn't know then how right I'd be. I didn't know that somewhere on the Eastbrook campus, there was a professor who would see something in me that my own parents never could. And I didn't know that 4 years later, I'd be standing on a stage in front of thousands of people, including my family, finally telling the truth they'd tried so hard to bury. But that moment was still years away. First, I had to survive. And surviving, as I was about to learn, would require sacrificing almost everything. Freshman year Thanksgiving. Let me paint you a picture of what rock bottom looks like when you're 19 years old and finally understanding what it means to be erased from your own family. I sat alone in my tiny rented room, phone pressed to my ear, listening to the sounds of home. Laughter in the background. The clink of dishes. The warm chaos of a family gathering I wasn't part of. The chaos I used to be part of before I became inconvenient. "Hello, Francis?" My mother's voice was distant, distracted, like I was a telemarketer interrupting dinner. "Hi, Mom. Happy Thanksgiving." "Oh, yes. Happy Thanksgiving, honey. How are you?" The question was automatic, reflexive. She didn't actually want to know. I could hear it in her tone, the way you ask someone how they are when you're already moving on to the next thing. "I'm okay." "Is Dad there? Can I talk to him?" A pause. Long enough that I knew what was coming. Then I heard his voice in the background, muffled but perfectly clear. "Tell her I'm busy." 3 words. Tell her I'm busy. Not "I'll call her back." Not "give me a minute." Just a dismissal, delivered through a messenger, like I wasn't worth the effort of a direct rejection. My mother's voice returned, artificially bright, coated in that fake cheerfulness that makes everything worse. "Your father's just in the middle of something." Victoria was telling the funniest story. "It's fine, Mom." I cut her off because I couldn't bear to hear about Victoria's funny story, about how entertaining she was, how present, how worthy of attention. "Are you eating enough? Do you need anything?" I looked around my room. At the stack of instant ramen on my desk, 12 for $5 at the discount store. At the second-hand blanket I'd bought at Goodwill because my parents didn't think to give me one when I left. At the textbook I'd borrowed from the library because I couldn't afford to buy it, praying no one else would need it before the semester ended. "No, Mom. I don't need anything." The lie tasted like copper. "Okay. Well, we love you." "Love you too." I hung up. Then I opened Facebook, because apparently I'm a masochist who enjoys self-inflicted emotional wounds. The first thing in my feed was a photo Victoria had posted 7 minutes ago. Mom, Dad, and Victoria at the dining table. Candles lit. Turkey gleaming golden in the center. Flowers in a crystal vase. Everyone dressed up, smiling, perfect. The caption, "Thankful for my amazing family." My amazing family. I zoomed in on the photo, studying it like evidence at a crime scene. 3 place settings. 3 chairs. 3 people. Not 4. They hadn't even set a place for me. They hadn't left an empty chair with my name on it, hadn't put out a plate just in case, hadn't done any of the symbolic gestures that families do to show someone they're missed. I'd been completely edited out. Erased. Like I'd never existed at all. I sat there for a long time, staring at that image, feeling something inside me fundamentally shift. The ache I'd carried for years, the desperate longing for their approval, their attention, their love, didn't disappear. Pain like that doesn't just vanish. But it changed. It hollowed out. And where the pain used to be, there was only quiet emptiness. Here's what nobody tells you about being rejected by your own family: the emptiness is actually a gift. Because once you stop needing their love, once you stop waiting for them to see you, once you accept that the validation you're chasing will never come, you become free. Free to build something they can't touch. Free to become someone they'll never understand. And strangely, that emptiness gave me something the pain never had. Clarity. Second semester, freshman year. Microeconomics 101. This is where everything changed, though I didn't know it yet. Dr. Margaret Smith was a legend at Eastbrook. 30 years of teaching, published in every major journal, invited to conferences around the world. She had a reputation that preceded her into every classroom: brilliant, demanding, absolutely terrifying. Students whispered that she hadn't given an A in 5 years. She didn't believe in grade inflation or participation trophies or making students feel good about mediocre work. She believed in excellence, and she'd know it when she saw it. I sat in the third row, took meticulous notes in the margins of my borrowed textbook, and turned in my first essay expecting a B- at best. Maybe a C+ if I was being realistic. The paper came back 3 days later with 2 letters at the top, written in red ink: A+. My hands shook holding it. I'd never gotten an A+ on a college paper. I'd never gotten an A+ on anything that mattered. Beneath the grade was a note, also in red ink, underlined twice: "See me after class." My heart dropped into my stomach. What did I do wrong? Did I accidentally plagiarize something? Did I cite incorrectly? Was the A+ a mistake, and now she was going to take it back? After the lecture, I approached her desk like I was walking to my own execution. Dr. Smith was already packing her bag, silver hair pulled back in a severe bun, reading glasses perched on her nose, radiating the kind of authority that makes you stand up straighter without thinking about it. Frances Townsend. Yes, ma'am. Sit down. I sat. She looked at me over her glasses, studying me like I was a specimen under a microscope, like she could see through skin and bone directly into my soul. This essay is one of the best pieces of undergraduate writing I've seen in 20 years. Where did you study before this? Nowhere special. Public high school. Nothing advanced. And your family? Academics? I hesitated. This was the moment where I could lie, where I could pretend everything was normal, where I could protect my family's reputation and my own pride. But something about Dr. Smith's directness, her unflinching gaze, made dishonesty feel impossible. My family doesn't support my education, financially or otherwise. The words came out before I could stop them, raw and honest and slightly humiliating. Dr. Smith set down her pen. Tell me more. So I did. For the first time since leaving home, I told someone the whole story. The college acceptance letters arriving on the same day. My father's words in the living room: "You're smart, Frances, but you're not special. There's no return on investment with you." The 3 jobs I was working. The 4 hours of sleep I was surviving on. The Thanksgiving I'd spent alone while my family celebrated without me. The text message I'd seen on my mother's phone: "Poor Frances. But Harold's right. She doesn't stand out." All of it. Every humiliating detail. Every wound I'd been carrying in silence. When I finished, Dr. Smith was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that would change my trajectory forever. "Have you heard of the Whitfield Scholarship?" I nodded slowly. I'd seen it in my midnight scholarship searches, bookmarked it in a folder I'd titled Impossible Dreams. Full ride. 20 students nationwide. It's impossible, Dr. Smith finished. That's what everyone thinks. But here's what I know about impossible things, Frances. They're only impossible until someone does them. She leaned forward, elbows on her desk, looking at me with an intensity that made me feel seen for the first time in my life. You have potential. Extraordinary potential. But potential means nothing if no one sees it. Let me help you be seen. The next 2 years blurred into a relentless rhythm that would have broken most people. And honestly, it almost broke me too. Wake at 4 a.m., coffee shop by 5, classes by 9, library until midnight, sleep, repeat. I missed every party, every football game, every late-night pizza run, every spontaneous adventure that makes college memorable. While other students were building memories, I was building a GPA. 4.0. 6 semesters straight. Perfect grades extracted through sheer force of will and chronic sleep deprivation. There were moments I almost broke. Once, I fainted during a shift at the cafe. Just collapsed behind the counter, knees buckling, world going black. My manager drove me to the campus health center. The doctor took one look at me, the dark circles, the trembling hands, the barely suppressed exhaustion radiating from every pore, and said one word: dehydration. That was the nice way of saying I was running myself into the ground. I was back at work the next day. Another time, I sat in my car, Rebecca's car, actually, my roommate had lent it to me for a job interview, and cried for 20 minutes straight. Not because anything specific had happened. Just because everything had happened, all at once, for years, and my body was finally demanding I acknowledge it. But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Because stopping meant my father was right. Stopping meant I wasn't worth the investment. Stopping meant everything I'd sacrificed was for nothing. Junior year, November. Dr. Smith called me into her office. The moment I walked in, I knew something was different. She had paperwork spread across her desk, her expression serious but electric with something I couldn't identify. Excitement, maybe. Or certainty. "I'm nominating you for the Whitfield." I stared at her. "You're serious?" 10 essays. 3 rounds of interviews. It'll be the hardest thing you've ever done. She paused, looking at me with those penetrating eyes that seemed to see everything I was trying to hide. "But you've already survived harder." The application consumed 3 months of my life. 10 essays about resilience, leadership, vision, innovation, failure, growth. Each one required me to excavate parts of myself I'd buried, to articulate pain I'd never named, to transform survival into a narrative of strength. Phone interviews with panels of professors who asked questions designed to break your composure. Tell us about a time you failed. Describe your greatest weakness. Why do you deserve this? Background checks. Reference letters. Transcripts. Tax returns proving financial need, which meant proving my parents' rejection in official documentation. Somewhere in the middle of it all, Victoria texted me. First time in months. "Mom says you don't come home for Christmas anymore." That's kind of sad, TBH. I read the message 3 times, trying to decode whether it was genuine concern or casual cruelty. I couldn't tell. Maybe it was both. Maybe Victoria didn't even know the difference. I put my phone face down and went back to my essay. The truth was, I couldn't afford a plane ticket home. I was barely affording food. But even if I could afford it, I wasn't sure I wanted to go. What was waiting for me there? Another dinner where I didn't have a seat at the table? Another photo where I'd be cropped out of frame? Another reminder that I was the daughter they'd decided wasn't worth keeping? That Christmas, I sat alone in my rented room with a cup of instant noodles and a tiny paper Christmas tree Rebecca had made me in art class. No family. No presents. No drama. It was somehow the most peaceful holiday I'd ever had. The email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in September, senior year. Subject line: Whitfield Foundation Final Round Notification. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely scroll. I had to read the first line 3 times before my brain would process the words. "Dear Miss Townsend, congratulations. Out of 200 applicants, you have been selected as one of 50 finalists for the Whitfield Scholarship. 50 finalists. 20 winners. I had a 40% chance, assuming all things were equal. But things were never equal. The final round would consist of an in-person interview at their New York headquarters. The email included a date, a time, an address in Manhattan, and instructions to bring supporting documentation. The interview was scheduled for a Friday. 800 miles away. I checked my bank account. $847. Enough for a last-minute flight, maybe, if I could find something cheap. $400 minimum. That would leave me with barely enough for rent, and rent was due in 2 weeks. A hotel would cost at least another $150 for one night in New York. Food, transportation, professional clothes I didn't own, the costs multiplied faster than I could calculate them. I was about to close my laptop, about to accept that I'd come this far only to be stopped by geography and poverty, when Rebecca knocked on my door. "Frankie, you look like you saw a ghost." I showed her the email without saying anything. She screamed. Literally screamed, loud enough that our other roommates came running, thinking something was wrong. "You're going," Rebecca said, and her tone left no room for argument. End of discussion. "Beck, I can't afford bus ticket. $53. Leaves Thursday night, arrives Friday morning. I'll lend you the money." "I can't ask you to, you're not asking." "I'm telling." She grabbed my shoulders, looking at me with fierce determination, with the kind of love I'd stopped expecting from anyone. "Frankie, this is your shot. You don't get another one." So I took the bus. 8 hours overnight, leaving campus at 11 p.m., arriving in Manhattan at 5 a.m. with a stiff neck, cramped legs, and a borrowed blazer from the thrift store that didn't quite fit. The interview waiting room was full of polished candidates who looked like they'd been training for this moment their entire lives. Designer bags. Parents hovering nearby. Easy confidence that comes from never doubting you deserve to be in the room. I looked down at my second-hand outfit, my scuffed shoes that I'd tried to polish with a paper towel and water. I don't belong here, I thought. Then I remembered Dr. Smith's words, the ones she'd told me before I left: you don't need to belong. You need to show them you deserve to. The interview lasted 40 minutes. 3 panelists asking questions I'd prepared for and questions I hadn't. They asked about my family. I told the truth. They asked about my future. I painted them a vision. They asked why I deserved this scholarship more than the other 49 finalists in that building. And I said something I didn't know I believed until the words left my mouth, because I've already done what this scholarship is supposed to enable. I've already proven that poverty can't stop ambition. That rejection can't kill potential. That being told you're not worth investing in doesn't make it true. This scholarship won't make me successful. It'll just make success less expensive. 2 weeks after the interview, I was walking to my morning shift when my phone buzzed. Email notification. Subject line: Whitfield Scholarship Decision. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk. A cyclist swerved around me, cursing. I didn't hear him. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I opened the email. Dear Ms. Townsend, we are pleased to inform you that you have been selected as a Whitfield Scholar for the class of 2025. I read it 3 times. Then a 4th. Then a 5th, because my brain refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. Then I sat down on the curb, right there on the street, and cried. Not quiet tears. Ugly, heaving sobs that made strangers stare, that made a woman ask if I was okay, that came from somewhere so deep I didn't know I was still carrying it. 3 years of exhaustion. 3 years of loneliness. 3 years of grinding determination and constant fear that it wouldn't be enough. All of it poured out of me right there on the sidewalk outside the Morning Grind Cafe where I'd worked since freshman year. I was a Whitfield Scholar. Full tuition coverage. $10,000 annually for living expenses. And the right to transfer to any partner university in their network. That night, Dr. Smith called me personally. Francis, I just got the notification. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for everything. My voice was thick with emotion. I wouldn't be here without you. There's something else, she said. The Whitfield allows you to transfer to a partner school for your final year. Whitmore University is on the list. Whitmore. Victoria's school. The university my parents had paid $250,000 for my sister to attend. The place they deemed worthy of investment. If you transfer, Dr. Smith continued carefully, you'd graduate with their top honors. And the Whitfield Scholar at partner schools delivers the commencement speech. My breath caught. Francis, you'd be valedictorian. You'd speak at graduation in front of everyone. I thought about my parents. About them sitting in the audience for Victoria's big day, completely unaware I was there. About the look on their faces when they realized. About everything I could say. Everything I'd been carrying in silence for years. I'm not doing this for revenge, I said quietly, because I needed to say it out loud, needed to believe it myself. I know. I'm doing it because Whitmore has the better program for my career. I know that too. I paused. But if they happen to see me shine, that's just a bonus. Dr. Smith's laugh was warm and knowing. That's my girl. I made my decision that night. And I told no one in my family. Because some surprises are worth keeping. 3 weeks into my final semester at Whitmore, it happened. The collision I'd been both dreading and anticipating since the moment I accepted the transfer. I was in the library, 3rd floor, tucked into a corner corral with my constitutional law textbook, highlighter in hand, completely absorbed in a Supreme Court case about equal protection when I heard a voice that made my stomach drop like an elevator with cut cables. Oh my God. Francis? I looked up. Victoria stood 3 feet away, a half-empty iced latte in her hand, mouth hanging open, eyes wide with shock. She looked exactly like she always did, perfectly put together, hairstyled, outfit coordinated, the picture of someone for whom life had always been easy. What are you? How are you? She couldn't form a complete sentence. Her brain was visibly short-circuiting, trying to reconcile my presence with reality, trying to understand how I could possibly be here, in her space, in her university, in the life that was supposed to be exclusively hers. I closed my book calmly, deliberately. Took my time. Let her stew in confusion for a few extra seconds. Hi, Victoria. You go here? Since when? Mom and Dad didn't say anything. They didn't, she was spiraling, words tumbling out faster than her thoughts could organize them. Mom and Dad don't know. She blinked. Once. Twice. Like I'd just spoken a foreign language. What do you mean they don't know? Exactly what I said. They don't know I'm here. Victoria set her coffee down on the table between us, still staring at me like I'd materialized from thin air, like I was a ghost haunting her carefully constructed reality. But how? They're not paying for, how did you? I paid for it myself. For Whitmore. I transferred here. Scholarship. The word hung between us like a grenade with the pin pulled. Victoria's expression shifted through several emotions in rapid succession. Confusion first. Then disbelief. Then something that looked uncomfortably like shame, though she tried to hide it behind more questions. Why didn't you tell anyone? I looked at her. Really looked at her. My twin sister. The one who'd gotten everything I'd been denied. The one who'd stood by the window in our parents' living room 4 years ago and squealed with joy while I was being told I wasn't worth investing in. The one who'd never asked, not once in 4 years, how I was surviving. Not once. Did you ever ask? The question landed like a slap. Victoria opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. No words came out. I gathered my books, started packing them into my second-hand backpack with careful, deliberate movements. I need to get to class. Francis, wait. She grabbed my arm. Her hand felt foreign, like a stranger touching me. Do you hate us? The family? I looked at her hand on my sleeve, then at her face. At the genuine confusion in her eyes, the dawning realization that maybe, possibly, she'd been complicit in something she'd never bothered to examine. No, I said quietly, and I meant it. You can't hate people you've stopped caring about. I pulled my arm free and walked away. Left her standing there in the library, surrounded by law students and the quiet hum of academic achievement, finally understanding that the sister she'd ignored for 4 years had become someone she didn't recognize. That night, my phone lit up with missed calls. Mom. Dad. Victoria again. I silenced them all. Whatever was coming, it would happen on my terms, not theirs. Victoria called them immediately. I know because she told me later, when everything was over, when we were trying to piece together some kind of relationship from the wreckage. She'd barely made it through the door of her apartment before dialing. She's here, Victoria had said, breathless, panicked. Frances is at Whitmore. She's been here since September. According to Victoria, the silence on the other end lasted a full 10 seconds. 10 seconds of my father processing information that didn't fit his worldview, that contradicted everything he'd decided about me, that suggested maybe he'd been catastrophically wrong. Then his voice, sharp and defensive, that's impossible. She doesn't have the money. She said scholarship. Dad, what scholarship? She's not scholarship material. The words were automatic, reflexive. Even confronted with evidence, he couldn't let go of the narrative he'd constructed. That I was less than. That I was ordinary. That I was the twin not worth the investment. Dad, I saw her in the library. She's actually here. I'll handle this. He hung up. Victoria told me later that she'd stood there with the phone in her hand, realizing for the first time that maybe our family wasn't what she'd always believed it was. That maybe the favoritism I'd talked about wasn't in my head. That maybe she'd been benefiting from a system designed to ensure I failed. My father called me the next morning. First time he'd dialed my number in 3 years. I almost didn't answer. Stared at his name on the screen, watching it ring, remembering the last time we'd spoken, some brief, awkward conversation about nothing that mattered. But something made me pick up. Curiosity, maybe. Or the desire to hear what excuse he'd come up with this time. Frances. We need to talk. About what? My voice was neutral, giving him nothing. Victoria says you're at Whitmore. That you transferred without telling us. I didn't think you'd care. A pause. I could practically hear him recalibrating, trying to find the angle that would make him look reasonable. Of course I care. You're my daughter. Am I? The words came out flat. Not bitter. Not angry. Just factual. A genuine question about a relationship I'd stopped understanding years ago. What's that supposed to mean? You told me I wasn't worth the investment. Remember that? For years ago, in the living room. You said I wasn't special, that there was no return on investment with me. Silence. Long enough that I checked to make sure the call hadn't dropped. Frances, that was what you believed. What you said out loud while Mom sat there saying nothing and Victoria texted her friends about Whitmore. I remember it perfectly. Do you? More silence. Then, we should discuss this in person. At graduation. We're coming for Victoria's ceremony, and I know you know. I'll see you there, Dad. I hung up. He didn't call back. That night, I sat in my small apartment, the one I'd paid for myself with money I'd earned, in the university they'd deemed too good for me, and thought about that conversation. He didn't remember. Or he chose not to remember. Either way, it didn't matter anymore. He'd never actually seen me. Not really. Not as a person, not as a daughter, not as someone with value independent of his assessment. But in 3 months, he would see me. And when that moment came, it wouldn't be because I forced him to look. It would be because he couldn't look away. The weeks before graduation became a strange kind of quiet. I knew they were coming. Mom, Dad, Victoria, the whole perfect family unit descending on campus to celebrate Victoria's big achievement. They'd booked a hotel, planned a dinner, ordered flowers for her. They'd probably bought her graduation gifts, maybe even planned a trip to celebrate. They still didn't know the full picture. Victoria had told them I was at Whitmore, yes. But she didn't know about the Whitfield. She didn't know about the valedictorian honor. She didn't know I'd been asked to deliver the commencement address in front of 3,000 people. She didn't know that when they came to watch her graduate, they'd be watching me instead. Dr. Smith called to check in 2 weeks before the ceremony. "Are you ready?" "I think so." "Do you want me to notify your family about the speech? Give them some warning?" "No." My answer was immediate, certain. "I want them to hear it when everyone else does." She was quiet for a moment. "This isn't about making them feel bad, is it, Francis?" "No," I said honestly, surprising myself with the truth of it. "It's about telling my truth. If they happen to be in the audience when I do, that's their business. Not mine." Rebecca drove up from Eastbrook for the ceremony. Showed up at my apartment with a garment bag and a bottle of cheap champagne and that infectious enthusiasm that had gotten me through so many dark moments. "Let me help you pick out a dress. Something that says I succeeded despite you, but in a classy way." We went shopping. Actually shopping, not thrift store hunting. I bought my first new piece of clothing in 2 years that wasn't from a clearance rack or secondhand store. Navy blue, simple, elegant. Professional without being stuffy. The dress of someone who'd earned their place. "You look like a CEO," Rebecca said. "I feel like I'm going to throw up." Same thing, probably. The night before graduation, I couldn't sleep. Not from nerves, not exactly. I kept wondering what I would feel when I saw them. Would the old pain come rushing back? Would I want them to hurt the way I'd hurt? Would seeing their faces trigger all the abandonment and rejection I'd worked so hard to process? I stared at the ceiling until 3 a.m., searching for answers in the darkness. What I found surprised me. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want them to suffer. I didn't want to humiliate them or make them cry or force them to feel a fraction of what they'd made me feel. I just wanted to be free. Free from their judgment. Free from their expectations. Free from the invisible chains of seeking approval from people who'd decided I wasn't worth their time. And tomorrow, one way or another, I would be. Listen, I need to pause here for a second. If you've ever been underestimated by your own family, if you know what it feels like to work twice as hard for half the recognition, if you've ever been told you're not special by the people who were supposed to think you were extraordinary, type same in the comments. I want to know how many of us have lived this story. And if you're still watching, if this is resonating, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Now, let's get to graduation morning. May 17th. The day everything changed. Graduation morning arrived with perfect weather. Bright sun, cloudless blue sky, temperature hovering at 72 degrees, the kind of day that felt almost ironic in its perfection, like the universe was setting the stage for maximum drama. Whitmore's stadium seated 3,000. By 9 a.m., it was nearly full. Families pouring through the gates, dressed in their finest, carrying flowers and balloons, cameras ready to capture every moment of their children's triumph. The air hummed with excited conversation, with pride, with the collective joy of parents who'd invested in their children and were about to watch that investment pay off. I arrived early, slipping in through the faculty entrance to avoid the crowds. My regalia was waiting for me in the preparation room, standard black gown, yes, but across my shoulders lay the gold sash of valedictorian. Pinned to my chest was the Whitfield Scholar Medallion, its bronze surface catching the morning light, heavy with meaning. I took my seat in the VIP section at the front of the stage area, reserved for honors students, for speakers, for those deemed worthy of special recognition. 20 feet away, in the general graduate section, Victoria was taking selfies with her friends. Laughing. Adjusting her cap. Living in a reality where she was still the star of the day. She hadn't seen me yet. And in the front row of the audience, dead center, best seats in the house that probably cost extra or required donations or came with family legacy privileges, sat my parents. My father wore his navy suit, the one he saved for important occasions. Weddings. Funerals. Victoria's graduation. My mother had on a cream-colored dress, a massive bouquet of roses in her lap, ready to present to her daughter at the perfect photo-op moment. Between them sat an empty chair. Probably reserved for coats and purses. Maybe for Victoria to sit after she received her diploma. Not for me. Never for me. My father was fiddling with his camera, adjusting settings, preparing to capture Victoria's moment. My mother was smiling, waving at someone across the aisle, probably another Whitmore parent, probably comparing notes about their children's achievements. They looked so happy. So proud. So completely unaware. They had no idea. The university president approached the podium. The crowd hushed, a wave of silence spreading across 3,000 people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Whitmore University's Class of 2025 commencement ceremony. Applause. Cheers. The sound of collective pride echoing off the stadium walls. I sat perfectly still, hands folded in my lap, breathing slowly, steadily. In a few minutes, they would call my name and everything would change. Not just for me. For all of us. I looked once more at my parents, at their expectant faces, at their cameras pointed at the graduate section where Victoria sat, at their complete certainty about how this day would unfold. Soon, I thought. Soon you'll finally see me. The ceremony proceeded in waves. Welcome address from the university president. Acknowledgements of donors and distinguished faculty. Honorary degrees for a retired senator and a tech entrepreneur who donated a new building. The usual pageantry that stretches time like taffy, making every minute feel like 5. I watched my mother check her watch. Probably wondering when Victoria's name would be called. Probably planning the restaurant reservation for the celebration dinner. Probably thinking about the graduation gift waiting back at the hotel. Then the university president returned to the podium. And now, it is my great honor to introduce this year's valedictorian and Whitfield scholar. I felt my heart rate spike. Not from fear. From anticipation. From the knowledge that in 30 seconds, nothing would ever be the same. A student who has demonstrated extraordinary resilience, academic excellence, and strength of character in the face of significant obstacles. In the audience, my mother leaned over to whisper something to my father. He nodded, adjusting his camera lens. Still pointed at Victoria. Still waiting for his investment to pay dividends. Please join me in welcoming Frances Townsend. For one suspended moment, nothing happened. The world held its breath. Then I stood. 3,000 pairs of eyes turned toward me. I walked toward the podium, my heels clicking against the stage floor, each step deliberate, measured. The gold sash swayed with my movement. The Whitfield medallion gleamed against my chest, catching sunlight, announcing my achievement to everyone watching. And in the front row, I watched my parents' faces transform in real time. It was like watching a time-lapse of someone aging. Confusion first, who is that? Why are they calling that name? Then recognition, wait, that looks like, is that? Then shock, it can't be, Frances doesn't go here, Frances isn't. Then comprehension, oh God, that's our daughter. Then nothing. Just pale, stricken silence. My father's hand froze on his camera, suspended in midair. My mother's bouquet slipped sideways in her lap, forgotten. Victoria's head snapped toward the stage. I saw her mouth my name, saw her eyes go wide, saw her realize that this moment, this ceremony, this day she thought was hers, belonged to someone else. Belonged to me. I reached the podium. Adjusted the microphone. 3,000 people applauded, the sound washing over me like a wave. My parents didn't clap. They just sat there, frozen, like someone had pressed pause on their entire world. For the first time in my life, they were looking at me. Really looking. Not at Victoria. Not through me. Not past me. At me. I let the applause fade to silence. Then I leaned into the microphone. Good morning, everyone. My voice was steady, calm, clear, carrying across the stadium with perfect amplification. In the front row, my mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father's camera hung useless at his side, pointed at nothing. And I began to speak. For years ago, I was told I wasn't worth the investment. And for the next 15 minutes, I told 3,000 people the truth I'd been carrying alone. I was told I didn't have what it takes. My voice carried across the stadium, amplified by the sound system, steady as a heartbeat. I was told to expect less from myself because others expected less from me. 3,000 people sat in perfect silence. You could have heard a pin drop in that stadium. Every parent, every graduate, every faculty member, all of them leaning forward, listening, absorbing every word. So I learned to expect more. I didn't name names. I didn't point fingers. I didn't say my parents refused to pay for my education, or my father called me a bad investment, or my mother watched it happen and said nothing. I didn't have to. The specifics weren't the point. The truth was the point. I spoke about the 3 jobs. The 4 hours of sleep per night for 4 years straight. The instant ramen dinners eaten alone in a room the size of a closet. The second-hand textbooks I'd borrowed because buying them wasn't an option. The shifts that started at 5 a.m. so I could make it to class by 9. The weekends spent cleaning residence halls while my peers were at parties, building memories I would never have. I spoke about what it means to build something from nothing. Not because you wanted to prove anyone wrong, but because you needed to prove yourself right. Not because you were seeking revenge, but because you were seeking freedom. I spoke about the moments I almost broke. The day I fainted from exhaustion and went back to work the next morning. The night I sat in a borrowed car and cried for 20 minutes because my body was demanding I acknowledge what I'd been suppressing for years. The Thanksgiving I spent alone with instant noodles while scrolling through photos of the family dinner I wasn't invited to, where they hadn't even set a place for me. And I spoke about the people who saw me when my own family couldn't. Dr. Smith, who recognized potential where my parents saw a bad investment. Rebecca, who lent me bus fare to New York when I had nothing left. The scholarship committee, who believed I deserved a chance to prove what I could do without anyone's permission. The greatest gift I received wasn't financial support or encouragement. My voice softened, but the microphone carried every word to every corner of the stadium. It was the chance to discover who I am without anyone's validation. In the front row, my mother was crying. Not the proud, joyful tears of a graduation ceremony. Something rawer. Something that looked like grief, like she was mourning a daughter she'd never known, a relationship she'd destroyed without realizing it until this exact moment. My father sat motionless, staring at the podium like he was seeing a stranger. Maybe he was. Maybe I'd always been a stranger to him. Maybe you can't truly know someone you've decided isn't worth understanding. To anyone who has ever been told you're not enough, I paused, letting the words settle over the crowd like snow. You are. You always have been. I looked out at the sea of faces. At the other graduates who'd struggled, who'd worked multiple jobs, who'd chosen cheaper schools because that's all they could afford. At the parents who'd sacrificed, who'd believed in their children even when it meant hardship. At the friends who'd shown up when family didn't. And yes, at my own family, sitting in the front row like statues, finally seeing me but 3 years too late. I am not here because someone believed in me. I am here because I learned to believe in myself. And that is a gift no one can give you. It's something you have to claim for yourself. The applause that followed was thunderous. It started slowly, a few people clapping, then more, then everyone. People rose to their feet. A standing ovation from 3,000 people who'd just witnessed something more than a commencement speech. They'd witnessed someone telling a truth that most people spend their whole lives trying to hide. I stepped back from the podium, my part complete. As I descended the stage, I saw James Whitfield III waiting at the bottom, the founder of the scholarship that had made this moment possible. But he wasn't the only one waiting. The reception area after the ceremony buzzed with champagne and congratulations. I was shaking hands with the dean, accepting compliments from professors I'd never met when I saw them approaching. My parents, moving through the crowd like they were wading through water. Every step looked heavy. Difficult. Like walking toward accountability cost something they weren't sure they could afford. My father reached me first. Up close, I could see the redness around his eyes, the way his jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle working. Francis. His voice was hoarse, like he'd been screaming. Or crying. Or both. Why didn't you tell us? I accepted a glass of sparkling water from a passing server, took a deliberate sip. Let him wait for my answer. Let him experience what it felt like to ask a question and not immediately receive what he wanted. Did you ever ask? He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. No words came out. Mom arrived beside him, mascara streaked down her cheeks in dark rivers, hands trembling as she reached toward me. Baby, I'm so sorry. We didn't know. We didn't, you knew. I kept my voice even, calm. Not cruel, but clear. Unmistakable. You chose not to see. That's not fair, Dad started, finding his voice, slipping back into defensiveness like it was a comfortable jacket. Fair? The word came out quiet, but it cut through the noise around us. You told me I wasn't worth investing in. You paid $250,000 for Victoria's education and told me to figure it out myself. That's what happened. Those are the facts. Mom reached for me. I stepped back. Not dramatically. Just enough to maintain space. Enough to establish that my body, my boundaries, were my own to control. Francis, please. We're your parents. We love you. We've always loved you. Can't we just, I'm not angry, I said. And I meant it. The anger had burned away years ago, replaced by something cleaner. Something that looked like acceptance. Like peace. But I'm not the same person who left your house 4 years ago. I'm not the girl who sat in your living room and believed you when you said she wasn't special. Dad's jaw tightened. His hands balled into fists at his sides, not in aggression, but in frustration. In the impotent rage of someone realizing they can't control a narrative anymore. I made a mistake. I said things I shouldn't have. Can't we just move past this? You said what you believed. I met his eyes directly, holding his gaze until he looked away first. You were right about one thing, though. I wasn't worth the investment. Not to you. But I was worth every sacrifice I made for myself. He flinched like I'd struck him. For just a second, I saw something in his face, regret, maybe, or shame, or the dawning realization that his words 4 years ago had consequences he'd never imagined. James Whitfield III appeared at my elbow, extending his hand with the easy confidence of someone who'd never doubted his own worth. Miss Townsend, brilliant speech. Truly brilliant. The Foundation is proud to have you among our scholars. I shook his hand while my parents watched. The founder of one of the nation's most prestigious scholarships, treating their worthless daughter like a treasure. Praising the girl they'd written off. Celebrating the investment they'd refused to make. I saw it hit them then. Really hit them. Not just that I'd succeeded, but that I'd succeeded spectacularly. That I'd done everything they said I couldn't do. That their assessment had been catastrophically wrong. That they'd thrown away something valuable and were only now realizing what they'd lost. After Mr. Whitfield moved on, I turned back to my parents. They looked smaller somehow. Diminished. Like the armor of their certainty had been stripped away, leaving them vulnerable and confused. I'm not going to pretend everything's fine, I said. Because it's not. And I'm not going to make this easier for you by absolving you or telling you it's okay or letting you off the hook with a hug and some tears and a promise to do better. Francis, please, Mom whispered. Can we just talk? As a family? Come home for the summer. Let us know. The word was firm but not harsh. Definitive. I have a job in New York. I start in 2 weeks. I won't be coming home. Dad stepped forward, desperation creeping into his voice. You're cutting us off? Just like that? After everything, I'm setting boundaries. I kept my voice steady, calm. There's a difference. I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself. What do you want from us? His voice cracked, and for the first time in my life, I saw my father look lost. Truly lost. Tell me what you want and I'll do it. Whatever it takes. I considered the question. Really considered it. What did I want from them? An apology? I'd probably get one, but words are cheap when they come after consequences. Money? I didn't need it anymore. Their approval? I'd stopped needing that the day I realized it would never come freely. I don't want anything from you anymore, I said finally. That's the point. For 18 years, I wanted your love, your approval, your belief that I was worth something. I don't want those things anymore. I don't need them. I took a breath, feeling the truth of what I was about to say settle in my bones. But if you want to talk, really talk, not just smooth things over, you can call me. I might answer. I might not. It depends on whether you're calling to apologize or to make yourself feel better. Mom was crying again, harder now. We love you, Francis. We've always loved you. Maybe, I said. But love isn't just words. It's choices. It's actions. It's showing up. And you made your choices 4 years ago. You chose Victoria. You chose what was comfortable. You chose to believe I wasn't worth your time or money or attention. Those were your choices. Now I'm making mine. Victoria appeared at the edge of our circle, hovering uncertainly. She'd been watching from a distance, probably trying to figure out if she should intervene, if she could fix this somehow. Francis, she hesitated, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Congratulations. Thank you. No hug. No tearful reconciliation. No pretending that one word could bridge 4 years of neglect. But no cruelty either. Just honest distance. I'll call you sometime, I told her. If you want. She nodded, eyes wet with tears that might have been genuine. I'd like that. I turned and walked away. Not running. Not escaping. Just moving forward. 1 foot in front of the other. Toward the exit. Toward the future. Toward freedom. Dr. Smith was waiting by the exit, a quiet smile on her face, pride radiating from her like light. You did well, she said. I'm free, I replied. And for the first time in my life, I meant it completely. The ripples started before my parents even left campus. At the reception, I watched it happen in real time. The slow realization spreading through the crowd of family, friends, and acquaintances, the whispered conversations, the sidelong glances at my parents. Mrs. Patterson from the country club approached my mother, all smiles and curiosity. Diane, I didn't know Francis went to Whitmore. And a Whitfield scholar? Valedictorian? You must be so proud. My mother's smile looked like it physically hurt. Yes. Yes, we're very proud. How on earth did you keep it a secret? If my daughter won that, I'd have it on billboards. Mrs. Patterson laughed, not unkindly, but the question hung there like an accusation disguised as a compliment. My mother didn't have an answer. Over the following weeks, the questions multiplied. I heard about it secondhand, through Victoria, through mutual family friends, through the grapevine that carries gossip like wildfire. My father's business partners asked about me. Saw your daughter's speech online. Incredible story. You must have really pushed her to excel. He couldn't tell them the truth. That he'd done the opposite. That he'd actively discouraged me, dismissed me, decided I wasn't worth the effort. So he smiled and accepted compliments for work he'd never done, for a daughter he'd never supported. Victoria called me 3 days after graduation. Mom hasn't stopped crying. Dad barely talks. He just sits in his office and stares at the wall. I'm sorry to hear that. And I was. Not sorry enough to fix it for them, but sorry that pain was happening. Sorry that consequences feel like punishment when you're not used to experiencing them. Are you? Victoria asked. Really? I thought about it. I don't want them to suffer. But I'm not responsible for their feelings. They're adults. They made choices. Now they're dealing with the aftermath. That's not cruelty. That's just reality. Silence on the line. Then, Francis, I'm sorry. I should have asked. I should have paid attention. I was so wrapped up in my own stuff, and I know that's not an excuse, but I was oblivious. I knew you had it harder, but I didn't know, I didn't realize. I know you didn't, I said, and I meant it. Neither of us chose the way they raised us. We were kids. But we can choose what happens next. We can choose whether to perpetuate the dysfunction or break the cycle. More silence. Do you hate me? No. I answered immediately, honestly. I don't have the energy to hate anyone. I just want to move forward. Can we maybe get coffee sometime? Start over? I thought about my sister. About the girl who'd gotten everything and still ended up empty-handed in a different way. About how favoritism damages everyone in the family, not just the scapegoat. Yeah, I said. I'd like that. 2 months after graduation, I stood in my new apartment in Manhattan. It was small, a studio, really. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and office. A kitchen the size of a closet. One window overlooking a brick wall. But it was mine. Every square inch of it. I'd signed the lease with money from my first paycheck at Morrison & Associates, one of the top financial consulting firms in the city. Entry-level position, long hours, steep learning curve, salary that made my student jobs look like spare change. I'd never been happier. Dr. Smith called on a Saturday morning. How's the big city treating you? Exhausting. Exciting. Everything they warned me about and more. She laughed, warm and familiar. That sounds about right. I'm proud of you, Francis. I hope you know that. I do. Thank you for everything. I wouldn't be here without you. You would have found a way, she said. You always do. That's who you are. Rebecca visited the following weekend. She walked into my studio, looked around at the sparse furniture and the single window, and declared it exactly as small and depressing as I expected. Then she hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. You did it, Frankie. You actually did it. We did it, I corrected. I couldn't have survived without you. Damn right you couldn't have. She grinned. Now buy me pizza and tell me everything about your fancy finance job. One evening, about 3 months after graduation, I found a letter in my mailbox. Handwritten. 3 pages. My mother's looping script that I recognized from birthday cards and grocery lists and notes left on the kitchen counter throughout my childhood. Dear Francis, I don't expect you to forgive us. I'm not sure I would if I were you. She wrote about regret. About the 1,000 small ways she'd failed me. About watching me on that stage and realizing she'd been looking at a stranger who was also her daughter. About how she convinced herself that treating us differently was practical, was fair, was justified because Victoria had more potential. I know I can't undo what happened, she wrote. But I want you to know, I see you now. I see who you've become. I see your strength, your brilliance, your incredible resilience. And I am so sorry I didn't see you sooner. I'm sorry I let your father convince me that you were less valuable. I'm sorry I didn't fight for you. I'm sorry I failed you as a mother. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it carefully and put it in my desk drawer. I didn't reply. Not yet. Not because I was punishing her, but because I needed time to figure out what I wanted to say, if anything. For once, the choice was mine. The timeline was mine. The terms were mine. 6 months after graduation, my phone rang. Dad. I almost let it go to voicemail. My finger hovered over the decline button. Almost pressed it. Almost. Hello? Francis. Thank you for picking up. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. Silence. Then, I deserve that. I waited. Let him fill the space. Let him do the work for once. I've been thinking every day since graduation, he said. Trying to figure out what to say to you. How to make this right. I keep coming up empty. Then just say what's true. Another long pause. I could hear him breathing on the other end of the line, gathering courage, maybe, or trying to find words he'd never had to say before. I was wrong. His voice cracked. Not just about the money. About everything. The way I treated you. The things I said. The years I didn't call, didn't ask, he broke off. I have no excuse. I was your father and I failed you. I listened to him breathe. Listened to the silence that followed his confession. It felt important to let it sit there, to not rush to fill it, to not make it easier for him. I hear you, I said finally. Okay. Okay? He sounded surprised, like he'd expected more. What does that mean? It means I heard you. That's all. I don't know. I thought maybe you'd tell me how to fix this. It's not my job to tell you how to fix what you broke. More silence. Heavier this time. You're right. He sounded older than I'd ever heard him. Tired. Defeated. You're absolutely right. But, I took a breath, surprised by what I was about to offer. If you want to try, really try, not just make yourself feel better, I'm willing to let you. You are? I'm not promising anything. No instant forgiveness. No family dinners where we pretend everything's fine. No photo opportunities for your friends. But if you want to have real conversations, honest ones, no deflecting or rewriting history, I'll listen. That's all I can offer right now. That's more than I deserve. Yes, I said. It is. He laughed. A small, broken sound. You've always been the strong one, Francis. I was just too blind to see it. Yeah, I said. You were. We talked for a few more minutes. Nothing profound. Just two people trying to find common ground across years of wreckage. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was a start. Maybe. It's been 2 years since graduation. I'm still in New York, still at Morrison & Associates, though I've been promoted twice. From entry-level analyst to associate to senior associate. My salary is now more than my parents spent on Victoria's entire education. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm starting my MBA at Columbia this fall, paid for entirely by my company. The kid who ate ramen and slept 4 hours a night, she'd hardly recognize me now. But I haven't forgotten her. I carry her with me every day. She's the reason I work hard. The reason I never take success for granted. The reason I remember that worth isn't assigned by other people, it's something you prove to yourself. Victoria and I meet for coffee once a month. It's awkward sometimes. We're learning to be sisters as adults, which is strange because we never really were as kids. We were twins who lived in the same house but inhabited completely different worlds. But she's trying. I can see that now. I'm sorry I didn't see it, she told me at our last coffee date. All those years. I was so focused on what I was getting, I never asked what you weren't getting. I never thought about how unfair it was. I know. How do you not hate me for that? Because you didn't create the system. You just benefited from it. You were 18. You were a kid too. We both were. I paused. But you're not a kid anymore. So what you do now matters more than what you didn't do then. She nodded, crying quietly into her latte. I want to do better. Then do better. Be the sister you wish you'd been. It's not too late. My parents came to visit last month. First time in New York. First time in my space, in the life I built without them. It was uncomfortable. Stilted. My father spent half the time apologizing. My mother spent the other half crying. They looked around my apartment, still small, but nicer now, furnished, decorated, mine, and I could see them calculating. Understanding, maybe for the first time, how far I'd come without them. I'm proud of you, Dad said as they were leaving. I didn't say thank you. Didn't say I forgive you. Just said, I know. Because I did know. I could see it in his eyes. I just wasn't sure it mattered anymore. I'm not ready to call us a family again. That word carries too much weight, too much history, too much pain. But we're something. Working towards something. Trying to build something new from the rubble of what was. Last month, I wrote a check to Eastbrook State Scholarship Fund. $10,000. Anonymous. For students without family financial support. Students like I was. Students who are working 3 jobs and sleeping 4 hours a night and eating ramen for dinner because no one else believes they're worth investing in. Rebecca cried when I told her. Frankie, you're literally changing someone's life. Someone changed mine. I thought about Dr. Smith. About the coffee shop shifts at dawn. About the night I bookmarked the Whitfield Scholarship, never believing I'd actually win it. About how far I've come. And about how far I still want to go. If you're watching this and something in my story resonated with you, if you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or told you weren't good enough by the people who were supposed to love you most, I want you to hear this. They were wrong. They were always wrong. Your worth is not determined by who sees it. It's not a number on a check or a seat at a table or a place in a photo. Your worth exists whether or not a single person on this planet acknowledges it. I spent 18 years of my life waiting for my parents to notice me. I spent 4 more years proving I didn't need them to. And you know what I finally learned? The approval I was chasing was never going to fill the hole inside me. Only I could do that. Some of you watching this are estranged from your families. Some of you are still fighting for scraps of attention from parents who've decided you're not worth their time. Some of you are just starting to realize that the love you're getting isn't the love you deserve. Wherever you are in that journey, I want you to know, it's okay to protect yourself. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to decide that you matter more than keeping the peace. It's okay to choose yourself when no one else will. And it's okay to forgive, but only when you're ready. Not a moment before. Not because someone demands it. Not because it's been long enough, or because family is family, or because you're supposed to get over it. Forgiveness is yours to give or withhold. It's your power. Don't let anyone take it from you. You don't need your parents, your siblings, or anyone else to confirm what you already know deep down. You are enough. You always have been. You were enough when they said you weren't. You were enough when they chose someone else. You were enough when they made you feel invisible. Their inability to see your worth never diminished it. It just revealed their limitations, not yours. Look in the mirror right now and say it out loud, I am enough. Say it until you believe it. Say it until it becomes the truth you build your life on. That's the first step. Everything else, the success, the healing, the freedom, comes from that foundation. The rest is up to you. But I believe in you. Because if a girl who is called not worth the investment can stand on a stage in front of 3,000 people as a Whitfield scholar and tell her story without flinching, you can do anything. If I can turn rejection into fuel and pain into purpose and abandonment into independence, so can you. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. And unlike mine, you get to write it knowing that you're not alone. That thousands of people who've watched this video have lived similar stories. That we're all out here, building lives from nothing, proving that worth isn't assigned, it's claimed. So claim it. Own it. Live it. And when someone tells you you're not special, smile and think about this story. Think about the girl who wasn't worth investing in becoming someone who invests in herself. Think about how wrong they were. Then go prove them wrong too. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story meant something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling me what part resonated most. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we've got more stories like this coming. Stories about people who were counted out and came back. Stories about underdogs who became champions. Stories about the power of believing in yourself when no one else will. There are more family drama stories waiting for you in the description below. Stories that will make you angry, make you cry, make you realize you're not alone in what you've survived. Click on those. Keep watching. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Because you're worth it. You always have been. And someday, you'll stand on your own stage and tell your own story. And when you do, I'll be cheering for you. Just like I'm cheering for you right now.